All right, everybody, welcome back for another deep dive.
Yeah.
Today, we're going to a place that is very, very different
Yeah.
from most of the rest of the world,
Absolutely.
and uh, a very different way of looking at relationships and dating
Yeah.
and marriage.
Yeah.
We are going to be talking about the Kreung people of Cambodia,
Yes. The Kreung.
and more specifically,
Love huts.
yes,
Love huts.
we
Ooh.
love huts.
It's a fascinating topic.
So if you've never heard of this, get ready to have your mind blown a little bit.
Yeah.
So the basic idea here is that uh, the parents in the Kreung tribe will actually build these small huts
Right.
for their daughters.
Yeah. For their teenage daughters.
Yes, as a place for them to meet with potential partners.
Exactly. And to explore, romantic relationships.
Right, and to do it on their own terms.
Yes. Very much driven by the daughter and her choices.
Yeah, and it's not just about, hooking up or anything like that.
No, not at all.
It's really about finding the right person to marry.
Yeah. It's seen as a pathway to marriage.
Right, and what's really interesting to me is that this whole practice seems to be rooted in this idea that allowing young people to have this freedom of choice
Yes.
actually leads to stronger, more fulfilling marriages.
Absolutely. And I think it's so interesting because it really challenges our assumptions about arranged marriage, right? We often think of arranged marriages as being, about stability, about, family ties. But
Right.
the Kroon are saying, no, actually, like true commitment
Yeah.
comes from personal desire. It comes from you choosing to be with that person.
Yeah, it's really fascinating, and they're not just theorizing about this. I mean, there's actually evidence that suggests.
Yeah, there have been studies done on the Kroon,
Right.
and they have found a significantly lower divorce rate compared to other communities in Cambodia.
That's right.
So it really seems like this practice of allowing young people to choose is contributing to these
Right.
stronger, more successful relationships.
Yeah, and they attribute that, at least in part, to the fact that they have this time and space
Yes.
to get to know each other.
Right, to figure out compatibility
Yeah.
and to build that emotional connection.
Right, without all of the pressures that we tend to have in our society.
Exactly. All the societal expectations and pressures that can sometimes, I think, get in the way
Yeah.
of really figuring out what you want in a partner.
Yeah, it makes you think, like, what if we had something like that in our culture?
Yeah, no, it's an interesting thought experiment for sure.
Like a safe space to just figure things out.
Right, without judgment.
Yeah, but, the Kroons are not living in a bubble, right?
No, they're not.
They're part of the world, and things are changing.
Exactly. Globalization is impacting everyone, and the Kroon are no exception.
Yeah. So what are some of the ways that...
Well, I think one of the biggest factors is the influx of internet access
Okay.
and an exposure to Western media. Young Kroon people are seeing different ways of life, different relationship models.
Right, and they're starting to question.
Yeah, and they're starting to question, is this tradition still relevant for me?
Right.
Do I want to follow this path?
So it's kind of like they're at this crossroads
Yeah, I think that's a great way to put it. It's a cultural crossroads.
where they have this tradition that seems to have worked really well for them,
Yes.
but they're also facing these new influences.
Yeah. And it's creating this tension between the old and the new.
Right, and what do you think are the potential consequences of that?
Well, some anthropologists are concerned that the decline of love huts could actually have a ripple effect
Okay.
on the entire social fabric of the Kroon community.
Wow.
Because, if young people aren't forming those deep bonds through this tradition,
Yeah.
could it lead to increased social isolation,
Mm,
a weakening of community ties?
that's a really interesting point.
Something to think about for sure.
Yeah, because, they are known as being a very, very close-knit
Very much a.
community. So to think that this could potentially change that.
It's a little bit concerning.
Yeah, so is there anything that they're doing to try to preserve this tradition?
Well, there are some efforts being made to adapt,
Okay.
to incorporate elements of modernity into the love hut tradition.
Okay.
For example, some love huts now have electricity,
Mm.
internet access.
Wow.
So it's kind of like they're trying to bridge that gap between the old and the new.
Yeah.
Whether it will be successful in the long run,
Right. I
only
see.
time will tell.
Yeah, so, I mean, this is all really fascinating from an anthropological perspective, but
Yeah.
what do you think are the takeaways for us, as people living in a very different culture?
Oh, I think the Kreung story offers a really powerful lens
Okay.
for examining our own beliefs about love and relationships.
Okay.
It challenges us to think about how much freedom do we actually have in choosing our partners?
Right.
Are we prioritizing the things that truly lead to lasting happiness?
And they seem to be doing that right.
It seems like they're on to something.
Yeah. And we may not be building love huts in our backyards anytime soon,
Right, probably not.
but maybe there's some elements of this approach that we can learn from.
I think so. I think the biggest takeaway is that there's no one-size-fits-all approach to love and marriage.
Right.
What matters most is creating an environment that fosters respect, communication, and
Yeah.
genuine connection.
Those are good things.
And maybe there's something we can learn from a culture that's been doing just that for generations.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah,
Well, this has been really thought-provoking.
it's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. And to all of our listeners out there, thanks for listening.
Yes, thank you.
See you next time.
See you later.